Raider! Welcome to Raiders Fan Radio. This is your Uncle Mosh coming to you from the Dago Dungeon. Join us as Raider Nation takes a lighter side journey with the worldwide fans of the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right. Bolitnikov, a leaking pass. Touchdown!
We miss you. We love you. And we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack. Touchdown! Raiders!
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your old buddy Murf back here again for another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. That's right. We're glad to, let's see, I'm trying to think of what our new intro thing was. So it was the lighter side of fandom from fans of the dark side, right? Anyway, so thanks for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 77 of Raiders Fan Radio. You know, we are now a week away from the draft, and we're heading into the dog days of the football season, man. If you're an NFL fan, you're headed into some pretty desolate territory when it comes to news about not only the NFL, but especially our beloved Oakland Raiders. But you can certainly believe that Raiders Fan Radio has got you covered. We're going to be here each and every week, dropping new episodes, dropping new podcasts, and talking about the Raiders, even when there's not a lot to talk about. That's the gift of gab that our family happens to have, and we love to talk about the Raiders. So we will definitely be here to help you with that. So as I mentioned, it's episode number 77, but I certainly cannot do this alone. So let me welcome in your friend, my cousin, Sonny from the Pacific Northwest. Sonny, what's up?
Not much, man. Just another beautiful Sunday afternoon up here, and I'm sitting in a darkened room ready to talk about the Raiders. Let's go.
I know, right? It's like 75 degrees outside today. It's absolutely gorgeous. The weather has finally turned in Middle Tennessee, and yeah, same thing. I'm sitting upstairs. I got all the windows closed, all the doors closed. I got the AC cranked up like I'm sitting in a hoodie, like in my cave, my literal man cave, man. Like what a way to spend the early spring, right?
Yeah, we might have to move to some evening recordings or something, or different recording time, because this is killing me.
Why would you want to be out getting like vitamin D and like enjoying the outside playing with your kids and stuff when you can be inside talking about the Raiders?
Yeah, in June.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, Sonny, it's episode number 77. So of course that's going to be the Lyle Alzado episode. But before we get into some specifics about Lyle, first let's go to Uncle Mosh and hear him talk about how you can find our show.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Uncle Mosh. That's right. Somebody actually claims Sonny and Murf. These two. Check them out on their website, RaidersFanRadio.com. You can friend them on Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio, or you can like their fan page at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Hey, I don't tweet. I don't even know how to use a Twitter, but they do. You can tweet them at Raiders Fan Radio. Call them. Leave a voicemail if you want. Go old school. 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Hey, do this. Please subscribe and rate Raiders Fan Radio on iTunes. You can listen to the show on all podcast services like Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, and many, many more. Okay, am I done? Did I say all the stuff I was supposed to say? All right, I'm out of here.
All right, Sonny, we got a few things to get to today. First, I want to ask you about Alzado. Then we're going to get into the some news stories that broke this week. Then we're going to get into Bruce Irvin making the top 100 on NFL Network's top 100 players. Then we have some voicemails in the Sea of Fans mailbag. And finally, we're going to finish this thing off with a Murf's Internet black hole. So, Sonny, episode 77, Lyle Alzado, right? So, very famous Raider. He played for the Raiders from 82 to 85, Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 18, the last Super Bowl the Raiders won, January 22nd, 1984. But prior to Alzado's Raider career, he was a Bronco from 71 to 78 and a Cleveland Brown from 79 to 81. So my question to you is this, but first I got a little quick story for you. I do want to ask you about what your thoughts are about players that become Raiders. But when he played for the Denver Broncos, and I don't know what year it was, but it was 71 to 78, at some point in there, parts of our family lived in Denver. And we were in Denver. I don't know if we were visiting or maybe even living for a little while when I was a kid. But our Uncle Louie, so your dad's younger brother, my mom's younger brother, not as young as Uncle Mosh, he's the baby, but there's another one in there, Uncle Louie. Uncle Louie ran a movie theater at the time, and I was hanging out with Uncle Louie at the movie theater, and he said, hey, go down there and ask that guy for his autograph. And I'm like, who is it? He goes, it's Lyle Alzado. And I'm like, okay. I'm like 5 probably. I mean, like a little kid. Dude, nicest guy ever. This is when he was a Bronco. And nicest guy in the world. Like, took a minute. Like, he was sitting down there with his wife at like the front like corner of the movie theater, like a weird spot to sit when you're, whatever. But so like, and like signed an autograph and like shook my hand and like told me that I think he wrote like to a future Super Bowl champ. I don't have the autograph anymore, but he wrote like to a future Super Bowl champ and was like asking me about like what I was into and like just a super friendly thing. And I couldn't have been, I mean, he only played there till 78. I was like, at most, I was 5 years old. So really, really, really cool guy and a fun story that, frankly, I had flat forgotten about until before we went and did this episode. I started thinking about the planning for this episode. But anyway, so all that aside, though, Sonny, what do you think about players that start off as one thing, especially a rival of our team, and then come and then play and become famous Raiders, essentially? Do you ever fully really buy into them like you would like a Charles Woodson or a Stable or somebody like that that's starts their career as a Raider?
Let's back up real quick, Murf. Are you telling everybody listening to the show right now, as a podcast host, that at one point in your life you got an autograph from a Denver Bronco?
I did. I didn't know any better. I was a kid, and Uncle Louie, the guy that's the Bronco fan, sent me down there.
That's why we never listened to Uncle Louie about anything.
This is the guy, Cousin Ryan's dad.
About anything.
That's why he's the redheaded step cousin.
Your Uncle Mosh's brother. Your Uncle Mosh's brother.
I know, crazy, huh? Well, but at least he ended up being a Raider. I wish I would have had it now. I don't know what happened to the dang thing. Yeah. So that was like my first ever celebrity encounter as like, it was crazy. I hadn't thought about that story in 30 years. I can't believe it. Like, I'm like, wow, I forgot about this. That actually happened.
Your Raider brain helped you erase it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there we go.
When you told me it was an Alzado episode, I just pulled him up real quick just to get a brush up on history. I didn't realize he played more as a Bronco than a Raider.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whenever you hear of Alzado, all you think of is Raiders and tough and then steroids. And then it was kind of, the sad deal, the end of his life kind of deal and stuff like that. And in regards to your question, though, I think what matters to me is how much. So say it's like from a Bronco or from a Chief, right? How much did their playing on the opposing team affect the Raiders? So, if the Raiders, back in the day ever picked up like Christian Okoye or something like that, or Alex Smith got traded to the Raiders or Travis Kelce got traded to the Raiders, like that would be weird because I didn't like those guys and never rooted for those guys. If John Elway ever got traded to the Raiders back in the day or something like that, or even now with Marquette King, how at one point we all loved him. And then at one point, we all started souring towards him because of his social media antics. And then now him going to the Broncos, like, now I hate the freaking guy. I never even met him as far as fandom goes. I hate him, right? So I think to me, so then you got Derek Johnson, right? So we just signed Derek Johnson from the Chiefs, Chiefs linebacker. I can't think of any one time that I was like really anti Derek Johnson. So I'm like, all right, cool, come on board, But again, if that was like more of one of the premier players, even like, what's Lynch's name? Peters?
Marcus Peters, yeah.
Yeah, if he came over, I'd be like, well, I don't want that guy on my team. Like, look what we did last year and stuff. So I think for me, or if we signed Aqib Talib, like, I couldn't do that. Well, what if the Brady Belichick thing goes south and Raiders pick up Brady because he wants to play with Gruden? Like, would you want Brady to mentor Carr? Like, yeah, but no. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, a lot of it is not so much they played on other teams, because obviously that's going to happen, but what was the level of impact they had on that team while playing the Raiders?
I think that's a great way to look at it. When you think about Gruden's first time around, whether it was, Charlie Garner or Rod Woodson, Brown, or not Brown, excuse me, Rice, Romanowski, there was a lot of players, heck, Rich Gannon, right, that came over from other teams. Like, there was, that was rampant, and we're probably going to see more of that, going forward, and we've already had this year. Gruden loves him some veteran players. And so, yeah, I think that's important. Like Romanowski, he still reps the Raiders a lot. We saw him, broadcast from the parking lot in the Oakland Coliseum, and he's very much aligned with the Raiders. But I never bought him as a Raider. I barely bought Rice. I mean, like, I remember Rice breaking the touchdown record against the freaking Raiders on Monday Night Football. Like, that was a pissed off Raider fan moment. So when this guy now he wants to wear a uniform, I'm like, I had trouble with that, man. And I never fully embraced him as a Raider. And especially Romo. Guy was a Bronco and a Niner. Like, really? He was
only the Raiders for 2 years.
Yeah, and now we're just
19 games you played with the Raiders.
That's what I'm saying. So a player like Alzado, it's a little different because, look, like I said, I was 5 years old, maybe, at the time. I mean, he was started as a Bronco before I was born. So, I mean, like, I didn't have any, like, reference point to that. Now, historically, when you look back on it, just like you said, I didn't even realize he was a Bronco more than he was a Raider. So his career's defined as a Bronco. Willie Brown was a freaking Bronco. Mike Haynes was a Patriot.
Do you think Alzado's career is defined as a Bronco, though? Because he won a Super Bowl with the Raiders.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I think that he's defined, though, as a Raider. Like, that's, and heck, our guest last week is Pete Koch. The guy played way more with other teams than he did with the Raiders, but when you look at, what he identifies with, it's, somewhat the Chiefs, but it's mainly the Raiders. And so I think ultimately players, like Willie Brown is another example. Willie Brown's a freaking Raider. He ain't a Bronco. You know what I mean? Like, there are just some players, but I'm with you in that, like, what is the damage done? Like, if Jamal Charles came to the Raiders, that would have been a hard one to deal with, right? Because he freaking ripped our hearts out how many times, right?
Or Phillip Rivers comes and plays for the Raiders.
Oh, gosh, dude. Right? So, I think that's a great way to look at it, Sonny. So, definitely. But anyway, but hey, we're going to celebrate Alzado here on episode number 77 for sure. I mean, he wore his Raider pride, on his sleeve, man, all the way up until the day that he passed. Gosh, he was only 43 years old. It's crazy when you're a kid, you think 43 is, ancient, and then you get to be 45 and you're like, wow, he's a kid.
Well, don't do steroids, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No kidding. The other thing I think that is smart, though, that Gruden, at least he did with Derek Johnson, is he pointed out he knows the AFC West, and for nothing else, maybe that's a smart move, bringing over a guy from your hated team. Maybe he wasn't a guy that got under your skin, but he was on one of the most hated teams in regards to your fandom. But he knows the AFC West, and so in a way, it could be a smart move. It seems to be a lot of Gruden's move. Are they going to be really smart or you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's kind of his MO. It seems like right now.
Absolutely. Well, hey, since we're right, you brought it up. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into some of these news stories.
Hey, so this is Uncle Mosh, and apparently all you got to do to host a podcast is have a microphone, a garage, and a couple of Derek Carr jerseys. Ha! These two did it. You're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with Sonny and Murf.
Sonny, Raider Nation has been sitting around waiting for the aging linebacker to sign to to play with the Raiders on the inside this year, and Navarro Bowman is still at home, and we signed Derek Johnson. So everyone's been waiting for the cagey veteran, and the wrong one showed up. What do you think about this signing overall?
Well, I wonder if they ever even legit offered Navarro Bowman a legit contract, or if Derek Johnson was always in the back of their minds as we can go ahead and pick him up.
So the rumor was that Bowman wanted more than what the Raiders were offering, but the Raiders were the only one that were calling, right? So you think from there that you wonder if maybe how much of there is truth to that. Yeah,
maybe they just lowballed them because they know they didn't want him, but maybe they did it to save face. But at the same time, what's Bowman? He's like young, early 30s, wasn't he?
Yeah, right at it. 30? Anyways, 31 maybe, something like that. I'll look it up here. Yeah.
Yeah, and Derek Johnson, I think, is going to be 36 this
36
year.
This season, yeah.
He's old, man. I mean, in football years, that's ancient, bro.
29 Bowman is. He'll be 30 this year.
Okay, yeah. So that's a 6-year gap, man.
That's big.
In regards to the wisdom and coaching up these young linebackers that the Raiders have, it's obviously a smart move to bring in a veteran like that who also knows the AFC West. But at the same time, how much are you really going to get out of him from a physical perspective is my only concern.
Yeah, and I wonder, I like the fact that we're going to have leadership in the middle. We've talked about that a lot on our show about how we felt that there needed to be those kind of leaders, and especially someone to quarterback the defense. But I don't know if this was the guy though, man. Like, he really didn't play all that great last year, and he's dealing.
He was coming off hurt, right?
Right. Yeah, and and when you get to be that age, like I've always said, you never judge a player the year after an injury because it takes that long for the mental to start clicking again, and it just takes that long to come all the way back. But when you're 35, almost 36 years old, like, man, you can only do this stuff for so long, and nobody's ever beat Father Time, right? He's undefeated, and I just don't see that. I don't know. This one didn't really compute to me. I think that Bowman is obviously, from an age perspective and from a play perspective, Bowman played great last year. From a leadership perspective, unless you just are going to get some insight into the Kansas City defense and parlay that into, I don't know, whatever you can to make that an advantage. I don't know, Sonny. This one puzzled me a little bit, and I'm pretty much an apologist, and I'm willing to go along with whatever. But this one, I don't know. This one kind of not bothered me, but this one just confused me a little bit. I didn't see a clear cut, advantage or path to this. But a lot of times we don't, right? As fans, like, a lot of times there's other reasons that things happen, and hopefully that's what's going on. So what about the subsequent cut though of Corey James? Like, that was probably more surprising to me than them signing Derek Johnson, was them turning around and then cutting James and letting him go. Everybody was kind of hyped on him.
Yeah, but how long had he been in the system for? And we all kept waiting for him to kind of do something. I think he was there 2 years or so, or
I think
he was there 16 and 17. Only, I think he played in 26 games, started 14 of them. He had flashes, but I don't know. It seems like with every one of these Gruden moves, you can either hate it or love it, and it seems like they're all very polarizing. Like, when you look at Twitter, and I'm not even on Twitter anymore. I kind of hate that thing nowadays. But
crazy, dude.
But
don't tread lightly to Twitter.
Yeah, it's so horrible. When you read, it's like a drunk person who says whatever they want. That's like what Twitter is to me and stuff. It's like unfiltered. You're talking to every one of your friends, and they're all drunk, so everybody's giving their super hot takes there. But so every one of his moves, drafting these guys from unknown colleges, cutting Corey James, who was kind of a little growing to be a fan favorite, signing Derek Johnson, where's Navarro Bowman, trading for Martavius Bryant, not getting enough for the trade. It just seems like it's either really easy. Well, it's both. It's really easy to critique everything he's done, and also really easy to say, oh, no, but here's the good thing and stuff like that, And it's hard as a fan to really, know what you should do, because as a fan, much like, prior to last year, we want to be hopeful, Remember last year the conversation was, oh, dude, they got rid of old stupid Musgrave. They brought in Downing, who's Carr's best friend, and they're going to be awesome together. It's going to be a match made in heaven. They're going to kill it. And so this year we're like, oh no, Gruden knows. It's like what was that movie, Major League, where every year the Cleveland Indians, this is the year. It's like you got to be careful not to say that about every one of these moves and look at it only from the good perspective. There's a lot of head scratchers here, and so nobody's gonna know until the season starts. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, I can see how that makes sense. I can see where Gruden is thinking in regards to that move. What's going to happen, And so obviously, if you look at the depth chart at linebacker, we got Whitehead, we got Marquell Lee, we just drafted Victor. Where does Corey James fit in that? We still have Nick Morrow.
Yeah.
We got James Kauser.
Yeah.
Where does Corey James fit in that rotation?
Absolutely. That's a great point. When you start talking about inside linebacker, I guess it's the room's almost getting a little crowded, oddly enough. That's a great point. For the folks that get overly critical of what Gruden is doing, I would just suggest to you this. The last time the Raiders won the AFC West was 2002. Okay, I'm not real good at math, but that sounds like 16 years ago to me. Put that in your mind for a second and think about that. 16 years. That's a long time since the Raiders have won the division. Now, I know we had a decent year I say decent. We had a really good year, okay, aside from Derek Carr getting hurt 2 years ago. But outside of that, it's been 2000. We still didn't even win the division. Outside of that 1 year, we had 2002 is the last time we won the division. Don't get so attached to the way that things have been done lately and to the players that we have, except for the Khalil Macks and Derek Carrs of the world. Don't get too attached, because all of these players that you have had faith in and these systems you've had faith in and these coaches and these approaches and none of that has equaled winning. Think about that for a second. None of it has equaled winning. So when you have somebody that's willing to come in and kind of upset the apple cart and to change and to bring change, great, because none of the other stuff was working. So if this plan doesn't work, well, that remains to be seen, but it's better than the plan that we've been doing, because the one that we've been on hasn't worked, and we know that. So let's depart from that now and then enact change and move forward once again. So, I would, and that's where, look, I'll be critical, about the Derek Johnson thing, like I just said, but at the same time, I got to keep the mind of, well, yeah, I like Navarro Bowman, but Navarro Bowman was on a 6-10 football team, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're okay. Thanks for the year. Thanks for the 6-10. See, exactly. Carr, Mack, everybody else is expendable, man. That's the way I see it. Everybody else is expendable outside of Derek Carr and Khalil Mack. Amari Cooper, love you, but you could go. Rodney Hudson, you're cool. You could go. Marshawn Lynch, you're cool. You could go. You're right. They haven't done anything forever outside of a fluke, and I'm calling it a fluke because last year what happened and the year before 2016 what happened. So until there's an established culture of winning, how could anybody get mad at Gruden, especially in freaking May, for what he's trying to do? He's trying to win. And frankly, why I'm getting tired of Twitter is every time I pop on there, oh, Gruden and McKenzie hate each other. Oh, Gruden's calling all the shots. Oh, Mark Davis is pissed at Gruden because he didn't get enough trade value from the Arizona Cardinals. It's like everybody's just trying to get clicks these days, man. Like I can't stand it, Everybody's writing all these soap opera themed headlines and stuff, and trying to make it this big old drama. It's like they're just trying to win a football game, man. They're just trying to win lots of football games, and none of us will know until next year. But man, it's just kind of getting old.
I'm with you. It's kind of funny. Like, it's the hot take culture, right? Like, everyone's got a hot take, and everyone wants to get the clicks, and everyone wants to drive traffic, and at the end of the day, we're all fans. You can call yourself whatever you want. At the end of the day, you're a fan. Unless you're, an insider, like somebody like a Steve Corcoran or, somebody like that that's affiliated with the organization. If everybody else, we're just fans, and we all have our opinions, and some are right and some are wrong, and ultimately we're all passionate about it. But I think the one that kind of gets me a little bit, and we see this a lot on Twitter, are the ones that are just doing it because. Like, don't just easy with that stuff, y'all. Like, come on. Yeah. Like, we got better things to read. Like, But hey, so speaking of that, I got kind of a funny story, and we might get him on next week. We schedules didn't align to get him on this week. We don't have an interview this week, but next week we may have an interview with this guy named Adam Patrick. Adam Patrick, if you guys remember a story that we covered at the end of the 2016 season, right? The Raiders are coming off of, right, the highs of that season, the 12-4, despite how it ended, right? Everybody in their world was looking for the Raiders to, and us too, put us in that bucket too. Everybody expected AFC Championship, if not contend for and win the Super Bowl for the Raiders in 2017. And of course, they didn't. They farted and fell. And Adam wrote an article on a website, I think it was called The Contend, I want to say. The Comeback. It's The Comeback. He wrote an article on The Comeback, and it was, careful, the 2017 Raiders are not going to be what you think they are. And I remember reading this thing going, this is a bunch of clickbait BS. This guy's trolling everybody. Well, no, he was right. So we're gonna.
Why do you want to get him on the? Why do you want to? I
want to get him on the show. I want to see what he's got because I'm curious, and I'll tell you right. And and if he's listening, Adam, here's what you're in for when we get on the phone with each other. I'm curious. Was he really coming from an educated perspective? And it sounded like. And it read like, when you read the article, that he was, or was he just trying to rile up Raider Nation? Because the end result at the time was that, just like all these Twitter hot takes, he just riled up Raider Nation. It wasn't, you know what I mean? But if he actually had a calculated, point based on what he really expected, based on what the Raiders showed in 20, he was the only one that called it, right? Like no one else put that in print. Everybody else thought they were going to win the Super Bowl, me included.
Well, and what if we said this? Would you expect a football team to do really good with a first-year offensive coordinator?
No, he's pushing out a rook, right?
So I think sometimes, and he's probably not a Raiders fan.
No, he's not. He's not a Raider guy. No.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So all we had to do is take off our glasses for a moment and go, wait a second, Todd Downing. Okay, wait a sec. You know what I'm saying? Like, all we had to do was just pull the glasses off.
Be rational.
And we could have figured it out for ourselves. And so that's what I'm saying about these Gruden moves. It's like everybody's either, getting on their knees or freaking wanting to throw stones at the guy and stuff like that, And, time will tell. That's it. It's like, this is almost like the worst time to be a football fan because I find myself there's no logic at this time of the year. At least when the season's out, you have at least the games to watch. But right now, it's just opinions.
Oh no, right,
left and right.
Hey,
that's it.
Right now you can win in the draft. Apparently.
Yeah. Right now, there's people up on the Super Bowls in the draft and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Hey, this is Steve Corcoran of RaidersSnakePage.com, and you're listening to Sonny and Murf Raiders Fan Radio. They're the best around.
All right, Sonny, every year the NFL Network during these dog days of the football season releases 10 a week. They release their top 100 players of the prior year. Now, this is voted on by also by players. It's voted on by their peers, and it's only on the prior year's play. So, there is no, if somebody was hurt or somebody had an off year or whatever, they don't make the list. That's why you don't see people like, Tom Brady as being the, top three every year, or Von Miller or whoever. Now, those guys are on those top threes, but they're not automatically planted there because it's not about your length of the legacy of your career. It's about what you did in the immediate past. So we're talking about the 2017 season. So we find our Raiders more frequently on this list, thankfully, over the past few years. And one that showed up on the list this week was number 85 of the top 100. And I'm talking about Bruce Irvin, which is a little bit surprising to me that he showed up on the list, and not because I don't think he's a great player, but because he never made the list before. So let's take a dip into some of that audio from NFL Network.
Lynch back, strip sack from behind. He dives on the ball. Bruce Irvin got the strip sack link. He went right around Garrett Bowles.
Is there an offensive lineman, especially at the tackle position, that you you hate playing against?
Yeah, I don't hate playing against anybody. even coming out of college, you see that 4.4, whatever, 4.5, whatever he ran. So he has that.
With the 15th pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Bruce Irvin, defensive end, West Virginia.
The fact that he's a mid-first rounder is mind-boggling at this point.
Bruce Irvin, who dropped out of high school, enrolled in Mount San Antonio Junior College before enrolling in West Virginia. There were multiple teams that had him as the top pass rusher in the entire draft, and there were other teams that said he had bust potential all over him and wouldn't touch him.
With 22 sacks over his first 4 seasons, the draft day doubts surrounding Bruce Irvin were quieted in Seattle. They were put to bed in 2016 after he signed with the Raiders.
He also, I think he's learned a lot from Khalil and vice versa.
What they say, still sack, best player in football? Best player in football.
Brees on third down. Now hit, fumbles the ball away. Bruce Irvin got him from behind. The Raiders have recovered the fumble.
When Irvin's bearing down on you, you got to get rid of that ball.
Blitz is on, he's under pressure, he gets sacked, fumbles the football, it's loose, ball on the ground, and the Raiders have it. The old Lawrence Taylor tomahawk chop from Bruce Irvin.
Since 2016, no player in the NFL has forced more fumbles than Bruce Irvin, who has 10 in the last 2 years.
Y'all said we was about to get a turnover too. That was nice.
Irvin isn't the only feared pass rusher on the Raiders. He plays opposite Khalil Mack, who will appear later, much later, on this countdown.
Rivers back on third down, got hit and sacked. Bruce Irvin hit him first. Khalil Mack will finish him off.
Well, there's Irvin coming off the edge. He's working on the left tackle, Russell Okung, and he just gets right underneath his shoulder pads and kind of walks him right back into the lap of Phillip Rivers.
He's dope, man. And the crazy thing is, you don't really talk about him too much because that other beast he got, on the other side. But he makes his plays, man. His presence is felt when he's out there.
Third consecutive game that Bruce Irvin has had a sack.
They got some dudes out there, man. Bruce Irvin, he can definitely rush too.
They out there for us, Pete!
Sonny, what do you think? Bruce Irvin, number 85.
I like it. Bruce Irvin is quickly becoming one of my favorite Raiders, actually, last couple years. He's very active on Twitter, goes after guys, try to get guys to sign with the Raiders. They call him Baby Reggie on there. He's one of the highlights of Twitter, so to say. Coming from Seattle, it's like Raiders really didn't have a rival with Seattle, last few years. So I've always liked Bruce. I always liked the pickup of him coming over. And 85 seems high for the guy who's led the league in forced fumbles over the last couple of years. But coming off of a 6-10 team, that's probably pretty good outside of, if your name is Khalil Mack or Derek Carr. But he has more forced fumbles in the last 2 years than Khalil Mack does. And I was looking at last year's stats real quick. I think last year he had 4 strip sacks, and the next closest Raider is who, off the top of your head? It's one of your favorites. It's one of Raider Nation's favorites.
Oh, Reggie Nelson?
Reggie Nelson with 2, yeah. So
Q-Dog,
where was Matt?
Q-Dog is cursing at his head earbuds right now.
Yeah. Where was Matt last year?
Yeah.
Was he just more double teamed, or So the one thing I like about Bruce Irvin is he seems like he's very, very pro Raider. And I don't know how he was in Seattle. I don't know if he's just pro whoever he's playing with, but he seems to jump in the role and love the role. He's always on there saying, to fans, hey, send me your jersey, I'll sign it. This past week at the Raiders rookie minicamp, he showed up with a Super Bowl ring to kind of inspire, the Key and Halls of the world and Hurst of the world, and kind of took him under his wing, so to say, and said, hey, here's the NFL, here's how we do it as pros, here's show up, play, So I really appreciate that, especially with, Khalil Mack not being present. How much more needed was that of Bruce Irvin to step up and do that for these young guys? So definitely nice to see Bruce getting recognized.
I agree with everything you just said, and I'm going to throw this out there at you too. How much do you think he can actually be now that he has a coaching staff that recognizes that he just needs to rush the passer. Like, that's his gift. That's what he's best at. Put his hand in the dirt and let him be a defensive end, outside linebacker, pass rusher, and not put him in a position where he has to drop back into coverage. Sonny, do you think we could actually see a better Bruce Irvin this year?
I think we're going to see a better everybody, and that's the,
that's a good point.
Everybody's going to benefit from being put in positions to win. And remember, this was a large part of the conversation last year. It was, is it the players or is it the scheme? Is it Ken Norton or is it Khalil Mack? Like, what's the problem here? And I think now hindsight's 2020. It was obviously, there was a distrust from the players and the coaches, and the coaches were inept at their job. And so now that we got, Gruden in there, we got Gunther is in there, Bisaccia. Everybody loves Bisaccia all of a sudden.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody loves that guy, So yeah, I'm excited. And are we going to go to a 4-3? Are we moving to a 4-3 look? What's that going to do for Bruce on the edge? And if Hurst or Hall or a combination of both, and Jelly and Vander does can get a push on the inside, how much more lethal is Bruce and Matt going to be? So, but again, it's May, so who freaking knows, Bert? I hope so.
Well, hey, listen, I'm glad you brought it up. And yes, it's May. And yes, we are only going off of speculation and bits of information and small things that we see and read. And there's something that we saw this week. And then I got to run a few things by you here. I'm going to play some audio quickly. This is from the rookie training camp. You mentioned all those players, and you mentioned Bruce Irvin's response to those players. So we saw the Raiders rookies show up at camp this week, and here's some quick audio.
Feel great to be back on the field. Just being around football, feel good to be back. I'm here to work, and I'm here to make the team better and get us some wins. So any way I can help the team, I'm willing to do it.
Just giving effort on every single play. Doesn't matter if it's special teams, offense, defense. I just want to give it all.
Turn those shoulders, boy. There you go. There you go. Now turn it, Bo. Now there you go.
Getting to be a part of a team with so much tradition, just to think about the players that, played before you and, get to represent them and represent the greats that, made this place what it is.
Sonny, during this video, obviously it's audio only there. You can't see what's going on. These guys are running through defensive drills, line drills, edge drills, and the speed and the violence and the explosiveness that are in these players, it's freaking impressive. And I'm talking about P.J. Hall. I'm talking about Maurice Hurst. I'm talking about Arden Key. Arden Key looks like a Bruce Irvin out there. He's wearing number 99, of course, which is Alden Smith, but he looked like... And the Arden Key similarities and Bruce Irvin, whether it be for their whole draft process and how they fell, or not fell, but were questionable, as you heard in some of the Irvin clips I played, there's a lot of similarities there. But when you look at, all right, we've already got the bookends, and now we're adding these players in the middle, and we're adding in rotational players like Arden Key. Oh, yeah, and there's this guy, Mario Edwards Jr., who has the potential to be a great player. Like, holy crap, like this is starting to line up. Now, look, again, it's May, and yes, I have Raider fan glasses that I wear every day of my life, but holy crap, dude, like our pass rush and our defensive line, we could be stacking up look, I'm not going to put them in the Hall of Fame tomorrow, but we might see not only a major increase in production, everything looks like, if things go well, and like all things, whatever, there's so many variables, I just think that it's looking very good that they could be very dominant, that we could have a dominant pass rush, and to have a dominant pass rush in the AFC West in a division that has a bunch of dominant pass rushes. Like, holy cow, dude, like our division's going to rack up sacks in the hundreds this year. Like, I'm fired up for our defensive line this year. I think it's going to be awesome.
I am interested to see if Brandon Parker shakes out. I don't know if you've seen, like, they had a team photo and stuff like that. And, I know Collins was the number 1 overall pick, but Brandon Parker is a mammoth of a man, dude. Like I don't know if you see any of the pictures or anything.
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, dude, he's huge. Like Collins
is this the North Carolina A&T guy?
Yeah, like Collins is a big guy. Like he's tall, but he seems kind of skinny for being an offensive tackle. But Parker just seems like it's just a big beast of a man. Like just a physical specimen of a dude. You mean
Miller
and
Colton Miller?
Yeah, Miller. I don't know why I was saying Collins. Miller. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but Parker just seems huge. He just seems like just a physical specimen of a dude, And I think, if you want to put yourself in Gruden's eyes of like, why would you want to pass up on a guy like that? Like this huge physical presence of a dude. And then you combine him with Hurst. Like I'm excited to see if these rookies can do anything, But again, it's May. And so you're hopeful, but it's nice just to see him out doing something. It's nice to hear Gruden talking about coaching. It's nice to hear them talking about Gruden's intensity and how it's not undersold or it's not oversold. In fact, it's undersold. He's more intense than they thought he would be and stuff. And it's just neat to see. It's also neat to see Tom Cable out there. Murf, did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
No, I know of it, but no, I've never watched it.
First of all, what's the matter with you? Second of all, did you ever watch Better Call Saul?
Again, I know of it, but no, I've never watched it.
There's a character.
I'm an Entourage, Sopranos, Silicon Valley guy.
Gotta watch Breaking Bad, man. One top 3 easily all-time series. Anyway, so there's a character there named Mike, and Tom Cable just resembles Mike to the umpteenth degree. I'm gonna post it on our Facebook page. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
But all the coaches are here, all the players are here. Let's get going and see what happens. I wish we could hang up this show and pick it up in September of this year, but it'll be a long 4 months.
Hey boys and girls, it's real dark here in the Dago Dungeon. This is your Uncle Mosh coming to you with some illumination. Check out these friends of our show, Mr. Steve Corcoran at RaidersSnakePit.com, DeadPiratesSports.com, and hey, don't forget, use code RFR10 at checkout and receive a discount. On Facebook, hit up Phil Villapiano Foo for Hall of Fame 2019. Hey, and don't forget, all over this great Raider Nation, check out your local Raiders Boosters Club, fan groups, or chapters. Raiders Fan Radio, providing the light to the dark side.
How about Uncle Mosh? Bringing it.
There you go.
Bringing it. All right, Sonny, every week we like to check in with Raider Nation because we have a lot of really even-keeled, level-headed approaches on our show, not only by yours truly, the 2 co-hosts of this show, but also by our listeners, right? Like nobody has any crazy takes. No one goes off the deep end like on Twitter, right? Like everything we say here is very responsible and thought out.
Mildly warm takes.
Mildly warm takes. That's right. And so we get in touch with those members of Raider Nation in our Sea of Fans mailbag, which we're going to get to now.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's bad. He throws. It is. Oh, he caught it.
If you want to get in touch with us here at Raiders Fan Radio, you can email the show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or you can call our voicemail number, which is 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Leave us your story. Leave us your hot take or your mildly warm take, as Sonny mentioned. And, man, if you get played 3 times on the show, then we call you a made man here. And, we don't have enough room to play all the voicemails every week. We played the best of the best, and man, the best of the best for another 3 made men run here again. So keep those calls coming. We'd love to hear from you guys. And first up, we're going to go to our buddy Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider.
Sonny, Murf, Uncle Mosh, Aaron, Q-Dog Raider, your draft day correspondent. Yes, I went to the draft. I saw, the groundwork laid for the next generation of Raiders. I tell you what, to quote out the Amos no one has brought in more personnel to make a football team than us. Gentlemen, we have got so many Raiders. When I made 2 calls ago, when I said that we had 73 Raiders on the roster, including 3 long snappers, I had no idea what the blueprint was. Reggie, Gruden, they've got so many prospects in, guys that have actually put in the work, guys, you know what I'm saying, that are yet to be proven, in order to make a environment of competition that will prime us to take our rightful place in the AFC West. I don't think that the NFL is really understanding what we're about to put forward. Gentlemen, Raider Nation showed up right out there, draft day leading up, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm out here vacationing in Vegas. I sent you the pics. Gentlemen, there were plenty of Cowboy fans in Raider Nation. Yes, indeed, the Silver and Black, the FW chapter, was out there repping NFL Network, ESPN, Fox Sports. Bruh, we got it in. We were the loudest. We represented more. And I tell you what, we got a lot to cheer for. So you know what? I'm wrapping this up. Go Raiders. F the haters. Y'all be good. Loved it out here. Represent.
Sonny, what do you think? What do you think about the atmosphere of competition that's starting to be created there in Napa?
Did Q-Dog say got it in? Q-Dog, I don't know about your exploits on your vacation, bro. Yeah, I mean, and that's also, I thought about it earlier, but I didn't mention it. It's a great point. Not because I thought about it, but Q-Dog makes a great point. Competition is a good thing. Competition is healthy. If there is no competition, then the competition falls apart. Competition breeds the best man. Competition gives birth to the new stud up and coming, rising through the ranks. So, Corey James, love ya, but maybe you didn't stack up competition wise. You know what I'm saying? Donald Penn, you're old. You've been good, but you're old, and maybe or maybe not you hit your wife. We don't know. But we know you have other baby mamas out there. But guess what, bro? You're not guaranteed a spot because we just drafted 2 mammoths behind you. So I love what Gruden's doing. Here, I'm going to put 90 players in the field, and the top 53 will get a spot. Love it. That's how you become. That's how you get good players. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think? I remember when Donald Penn. And great call, Q-Dog, by the way. I'm not trying to derail everything. Actually, let me address that first. Great call, Q-Dog. We saw the pictures, and way to represent Raider Nation down there. That is awesome. That was awesome. We love to see it. We love to hear it, and we appreciate you sharing all that back with us here on the show. So in regards to Donald Penn, and Q-Dog's one of the guys that have been like, look, maybe it's time for him to go. And based on everything that you just said, Sonny, does it truly reveal his character and the way that he responded to the draft? I mean, we questioned his character back when he had the holdout, and we played the audio bites of Donald Penn going on NFL Network and saying, I'm not playing for money anymore. I'm just playing for Super Bowls. I just want to win. And then and then 6 months later, he's holding out, right? So that was a reveal of his character. And then you mentioned earlier today, which is a great point about the way that Bruce Irvin has responded to the rookies that are essentially drafted to play the same position that he is, to address the same needs that he's supposed to provide for the team. And what does he do? He extends out to them, to mentor them, to bring them in, to, what? And Donald Penn, what did his response was motivation.
Come on,
right?
Dude.
Is that
I'm over that guy?
Are we over that guy? I guess maybe that's what my question is. Are we done with Donald Penn?
Shark in my eyes, bro. Yeah. I was over him. The baby mama drama that got under my skin. I'm only here to win a championship. I'm going to hold out. That got under my skin. And then this thing now about motivation. In a way, he's proving my point and proving Q-Dog's point that competition's a good thing. And so, yeah, you should be motivated. But at the same time, I like Bruce Irvin's approach more than Penn's. Like, get in the mix. Come help these dudes out. It ain't going to be about you forever, Penn, So I don't know. And then an accusation is an accusation. And I'm not going to convict the guy. Obviously I don't know anything about the situation and stuff like that, But when you're a part of the Raiders organization and domestic violence comes up and your name's involved, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sam Murf with Takeoff and everything. Like, that can't happen, man. So, accusation or not, as a counselor in my field, an accusation is enough to you're done. Like, that's it. All it takes is one. And so to even have an accusation and to have it run by a quote unquote national media source of TMZ, that's a bad look, especially being part of the Raiders. Just makes it even worse.
All right, next up, let's hear from our buddy Red up there, your neighbor up there in Washington, Sonny, up in the Pacific Northwest.
Sonny, Murf, Uncle Mosh, Red up here in Yakima. Well, what do you guys think about that draft? At first, I was a little disappointed. I wanted them to take a big man, but on the other side of the ball, I think we hit with a bunch of value picks, man. I think with Arden Key, Azim Victor. I don't know if you guys have heard of Azim Victor. He's out of UW, but he didn't play all last year on a DUI charge or something like that. And not to play your whole senior year and still get drafted, you got to say something. You're pretty talented. And to get Mo Hurst late in the draft like that, that was a super value pick. Getting Martavis Bryant out of the trade with the Steelers, I think that's going to work out big time. And yeah, Donald Penn's got to fucking go, man. I guess I'll leave it at that. Go Raiders.
I think that the opinions on Donald Penn are coming in universal. That it's
I had no idea about that voicemail. I just want to put that
no.
That was not a setup at all.
You sure didn't. No, it's not a setup. Sonny's listening to most of the show. He's getting, and that way we get genuine reactions and responses, and that's exactly why right there. So that's good stuff, man. Well, but hey, so I want to first off, Red, thank you for calling in. Always good to hear from you, my friend. Sonny, here's what I like about the draft this year a lot is that I love that's like and love at the same time. I love that the Raiders took shots I like that the Raiders took shots. I love that they took shots late. We didn't take shots early. We didn't mortgage our draft in order to take unexpected picks at the top rounds. Instead, you can be critical of who they took. That's fair.
Well, we did take unexpected picks at the top.
Well, that's true. But they didn't take the risk that the Arden Keys, the Mo Hurst, the Steve Victor. These players came later, which is frankly, again, uncharacteristic of the Raiders, because we joked around last week that, Al Davis would have not only drafted Maurice Hurst in the first round, but he'd have traded up to go get him, right? So the idea that the Raiders did this and they did it low, that's really cool. I really dig the way that this draft panned out.
Well, he asked our thoughts on the draft. Going off of somebody this week on Twitter posted a quote-unquote quote from an NFL source that stated how irresponsible of the Raiders to draft Maurice Hurst to play in the NFL with his heart condition.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry. The dude got checked out, I think it was by Harvard, and I want to say some other prestigious hospital or medical group in the country, and got cleared. But an NFL source said, how dare they? This is the kind of stuff that just annoys me with sports these days. It's such a drama, and part of me loves it and part of me hates it. But it's like, can we just get through all the drama, man? The guy's been cleared. Let's move on. If you're butthurt because you didn't take Hurst, shame on you. Don't come at the Raiders because they did. You know what I'm saying? So obviously these guys got to save face. But yeah, it's a little annoying. So that's the one angle. It's like, how dare they take them? On the other side, great pickup in round number 5. Who knows, right? We'll know more, Red, in October.
All right, last up, we're going to hear from our buddy Ron in Ohio.
Hey, guys, what's up? It's Ron. Just wanted to call in, touch base. Love the Martavis Bryant trade. I think being a contract year next year, he's going to be on his best behavior. He's going to be trying to ball out and get paid. So I think he's going to be just like Crabtree was for us. He was wanting to get paid, came over, took a lower deal, balled out, and hopefully we can work something out and maybe keep him, or if he's no good, move on from him with, just third-round pick. That's not too bad. I think that's really going to pay off for us. Another thing I was thinking about is This is going to be 4 years in a row we've had less than 8 home games. It put us in London against the Dolphins, 2 years in Mexico City, and then back in London this year. So hoping that goes away, but it seems like Davis likes to spread it around a little bit, and maybe once they do move to Vegas, that'll go away, but I'm worried about Hard Knocks too. We're exempt from that this year, thank God. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, guys, is I actually love that everywhere I look, they've got us in the basement of the AFC West. Not that I think that that's a good thing, but I like not having expectations coming into a season. I think, the hype, and you have a young team and got 1/3 of our roster is brand new. That can be a little tough to deal with a bunch of new personalities in a locker room. Coming in the year, no expectations or low expectations from the media, fly under the radar a little bit. Sounds pretty good to me. So, interested to see, as the off season develops, what goes on. But thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Ron in Ohio, man, he's got some great points in there, some great topics in there. So I'll hit a couple of these here and then throw it to you, Sonny. So first off, Ron is in Ohio, and I joked a few weeks ago when we were talking about the schedule release about how I was thinking about maybe going to Cincinnati, go check out the game there because it's so close. And I said that if I go to that game, I might be the only one there because there's no Bengals fans. Well, then Ron sent a message and said, "Hey, I'll be there too." So there'll be 2 of us at the Bengals Raiders game if we go. So Ron in Ohio, if you're going to go to the Bengals game, be sure to look him up. But in regards to the team, so we mentioned about the home games and the 4 years in a row now that we're losing a home game. Look, he said Mark Davis. I don't know if that's Mark Davis or that's the NFL. I think that might be more the NFL. It hurts the owner. Well, hold on.
You don't think we'll give you Vegas if you do this?
Well, yes. And I think that's where part of it is, because here's why, is that the owners are the one that lose the revenue. Like when you lose a home game, that's, not just revenue for the tickets, but for the hot dogs and the parking and everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're losing a lot of revenue by that. But then the other part of that too is that the NFL's not stupid. Look, I love the Oakland Coliseum. Save the emails, okay? But it's a dump. All right? It's our dump, but it's a dump, okay? And so the NFL, I mean, look, they want the best for their organizations. They want the best facilities. They want the best everything. If any of you have been watching All or Nothing, that Cowboys series that I brought up a week or so ago, you look at what the friggin' Cowboys, it's bananas. The facilities. And I'm not talking about Jerry World. I'm not even talking about the stadium. I'm talking about the practice facility, their offices, their medical. It's just crazy. It's like next level stuff. It makes the freaking Raiders stuff look like a dang, like a mid-level high school. It's just a different sport that the Cowboys are playing.
There are mid-level high schools in Texas who have better facilities than the Raiders.
Exactly. Yes, it's like a different sport. And if you don't think that makes for a competitive advantage, I would suggest to you otherwise. So I think that's very deliberate, whether that's Mark Davis or the NFL or a combination of the both. There's definitely a reason that the Raiders have not had the full home schedule. And you betcha when they get to Vegas, that's definitely gonna back down. As far as hard. Okay, go ahead. Let's do this one at a time. Go ahead. Now you go, and I'll bring up the next one.
So you think the reason that they don't give them the 8th home game is because the stadium's so crappy?
I think it's part of it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it hurts, and they're either taking a shot at Oakland or Mark Davis or both.
The NFL.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, it looks pretty on TV at night on Sunday Night Football to us because we're Raider fans. But when you look at it versus, I don't know, Sports Authority or whatever, it's just again, it's a different sport. It looks like it's not.
I was in court the other day. I was there trying to support a kid. They were trying to give him a probation violation, so I had to go there to defend him, as his counselor. And I'm sitting there prior to court starting, and I know kind of these people, so the judge is in there, or the judge wasn't there yet, but the defense lawyer was there, and district attorney was there, and so we're all talking, right? And she was saying how every year they go to a different stadium in the country to go to watch baseball games. And she goes, and she didn't know I was a big Raiders. She didn't know I was a Raiders fan or anything. And she goes, yeah, last year we went down to Oakland. And then I just kind of didn't say anything. She goes, I'm never going there again. And then she just started to go off about it. She goes, I've been to a lot of places. I've never been scared walking up to a place before. It's out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it. And just the look of the stadium gave me the creeps, is what she said. Now, this is some ritzy lawyer lady. So, but it's like, yeah, I agree. Oh,
Yeah, it's we've joked many times before. It's like marching into Mordor, man. It really is.
Ours. And so we love it, but
exactly, it's ours. Yeah. So again, please save the messages. I love the team and I love our facility, but let's be real about it, about what it really is. So yeah, I think there's definitely something going on with that. So
it's like Rocky's face after he fought Drago in Rocky IV. Like, you love him, but he's not pretty to look at.
Not pretty to look at.
Yeah.
No, and only one eye works. Yeah. So the Hard Knocks thing. Now, he mentioned they're exempt from Hard Knocks, and that's because anytime you get a new head coach, you're exempt from Hard Knocks. And I think that there's one other condition to it as well. It says something to do with like how far you advance in the playoffs, and that's one of the reasons that the Patriots are never on it. Is it because like I think if you're a playoff team maybe, or if you're I forget, whatever. There's some other stipulation there to it, and that's why some aren't on it. And that's why you've had repeat offenders like the Cowboys, because they fit, they've had the same coach for a long, long time. Same with the Bengals, right? So there's some teams that fit what they're looking for Hard Knocks. The Raiders are exempt. But here's what I will say. I would love to see the Raiders on Hard Knocks. Jon Gruden is built for friggin' TV. Not only, you know what I mean? Like, obviously football first and foremost, but the secondary to that is that he's great on camera, and so is Rich Bisaccia. On All or Nothing, Rich Bisaccia, out of all the coaches, steals the freaking show. I love this guy. And so, yeah, I would love to see the Raiders on Hard Knocks. No, I don't want to see him next year, and we're not going to anyways. But maybe their last year in Oakland, maybe their first year in Vegas. Heck yeah, I want to be a fly on the wall, man. Give us that access. I don't think the idea of it being a big distraction to teams is a lot less nowadays. These guys have cameras stuffed in their face all the time. It's not like especially like when you watch All or Nothing, nobody's playing to the camera. Nobody's distracted by it. These guys have cameras and attention and media on them all the time, especially when they're in the facility. So it's not like there's, there's going to be more football. There's going to be more cameras at a football practice. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? What do you think? You want to see him on Hard Knocks, Sonny?
I would love to see the Raiders on every TV show for the history of TV, because I want to watch the Raiders. But typically I don't want to see them on Hard Knocks because that means they didn't have a good year the prior year. So no. But at the same time, yes, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. All right, and then the last thing he brought up was the sorry, I'm losing my voice. So I went to Foo Fighters on Friday, and I was doing a lot of hooting and hollering. I thought I was going to get my voice all the way back, but it's starting to go out. Which Dave Grohl rules, by the way. It's still a phenomenal show. He mentioned the expectations of the Raiders and how he likes it that they're kind of down this year. We're used to down expectations. We kind of lived with that for a long, long time, since 2002 until last year. Expectations were through the roof and the team took a dump. So I'm with Ron. Back to give us, expect us to finish in the cellar of the West. Expect us to not make a playoff push. Expect us to not do much of anything, and then everything can only go up from there. We're used to it, so it's not like people beating up on the Raiders in the media. Okay, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, we're used to it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal from that aspect. And frankly, again, I welcome it as a fan. What about you?
Sorry, what'd you say? I spaced out there for a second.
Was it because I brought up Dave Grohl?
Yeah, I was thinking back to my Nirvana Nevermind days in my high school career, and how I was very sad when Kurt Cobain did that to himself.
Are you spaced out. Are you a Foo fan? You like Foo Fighters?
Not really. I mean, they have some good. I'm not going to knock their talent, but they're super talented. But I don't. They're not on repeat by no means.
They're one of the last rock and roll bands still rock and rolling. Like, I mean, they're amazing live. I mean, they have like as you mentioned, great catalog of music. But Dave Grohl is he's a fantastic rock and roll frontman. But especially him, it's the Dave Grohl show. Put on an amazing show. Him and Taylor Hawkins, the drummer. It's great, man. It's great. the tour's over, they're going to England now or going Europe anyways. And so if you missed them, then maybe catch them on the next album. But if you ever get a chance to see Foo Fighters, man, it's phenomenal. But anyways, so that's when he spaced out. So I talked about the expectations of the Raiders and about how this year they're going to be down, but we're used to it. And then last year they were up and they failed. So where do you come out on that? You space out again?
Sorry.
Hey, all right. Have you ever had a Kool-Aid pickle?
I'm turning off the computer. Okay, go ahead. I'm all ears.
Have you ever had a Kool-Aid pickle?
A Kool-Aid pickle?
They sell them this barbecue place.
Is this like your pink sock thing?
No. We have this really cool barbecue place called the Peg Leg Porker. It's phenomenal barbecue.
I went there with you.
Yeah, I took you Peg Leg Porker. They have Kool-Aid. Yeah. They have Kool-Aid pickles.
No, why do you tell me this now? 8 months after why didn't you tell me this when we're waiting in line at the Peg Leg Porker?
I didn't notice that they had Kool-Aid pickles.
Why did you tell me now?
I didn't notice they had Kool-Aid pickles until last time I went. I went just like a couple weeks ago. Anna and I went and had lunch there, and I saw they had Kool-Aid pickles. I'm like, I never had a Kool-Aid pickle before.
Like, what is it? Is it a pickle that was like in Kool-Aid?
I guess they just leave it in Kool-Aid. Yeah, they pickle it and then they pickle it and then they submerge it and leave it. So maybe it comes out like a sweet pickle, like a gherkin. I don't know.
Did you eat it?
No, I didn't order one. I was just curious if you had. Why did you eat a Kool-Aid pickle? That sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't. It sounds amazing. That's amazing.
I just wanted to snap you out of your space out. Now let's.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. Expectations for the. Now, it's like the third time I'm asking it now.
I'm listening though. I'm paying attention.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. So the Raiders, expectations, yes. Expectations, no. What do you think is good? What do you think is bad?
For this coming year?
All right. Now I got to lay the whole thing back out. All right. So Ron said that he liked that the expectations for this year are down.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So my position was, we're used to it because the expectations were low for so long, and then they were finally up last year, and we fell off, and now they're back down again, and it's familiar ground.
Why didn't you just say that from the beginning?
You're killing me right now. You're freaking killing me. You dumbass.
I don't get what you're saying. I like.
So if Dave Grohl's eating a Kool-Aid pickle.
You got me all confused, bro. I think about Dave Grohl eating a Kool-Aid pickle and stuff with Ron at a Cincinnati Bengals game. Okay. I like the Raiders being overlooked because when the Raiders are overlooked, they have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Last year, they were the darlings. We're going to knock off the Patriots. They were the threat in the AFC. Derek Carr, this is going to be his year. And look what happened. And that's, remember, we talked about this numerous times in the show. The thing that hurt worst about last year wasn't the fact that they went 6-10. It was the fact that there was such high expectations from national media, from local media, from every blog and podcast and fan site around, and from within the organization, and they didn't follow through. That's what hurt the worst last year. I'm used to 6-10 is a freaking good year. Yeah. If you look at the last 15 years, right? So I can deal with that. It was the added expectations and then the fall off that hurt. But if we're expected to be a bottom dweller and we rise to the top, that's what made 2016 such a magical year, is because we weren't expecting that. We were expecting the same kind of thing, and all of a sudden Crabtree catches a 2-point conversion against the Saints in week 1, and we were off to the races. And so, I agree with Ron. I like when they're at the bottom looking up because that's when the chip is on the shoulder. Especially this year with Gruden, if people are saying, oh, he's back, he's going to go to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't want that. I want the critics. And if you're a competitive guy, which Gruden is, he wants it that way too. He doesn't want everybody thinking he's going to go to the top. He wants them coming in, taking shots at him, both verbally and on the – he wants as a gamer, you want that. You want to prove yourself as a gamer. And Gruden's a gamer. So I agree with Ron. Definitely – much better to have low expectations and then you come from you come up. Now at the same time, if you always have low expectations every year, again, for the exact same reason you'd be on a Hard Knocks, that's not a good thing. You don't want to continually have low expectations of your team. But, at this point, the Raiders, it's more accurate to have low expectations than high expectations. They have 34 rookies on their 90-man roster right now.
Wow.
30, and Ron said that, yeah, third, so I went and counted them. That's why I was distracted. You made me lose count like 3 times.
Did you have to take off your shoes?
34 rookies on their roster right now. 34. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. They got 7 guys who have been there 10 years or longer. And Derek Johnson's one of them at 14, followed by Donald Penn, who's been there 12, and Reggie Nelson at 11.
Any of those career Raiders? Well, I mean, I know not the guys you just named, but is there anybody that's been on the team longer than now? Seabass is gone. Who's the longest tenured?
Lee Smith. 7?
No, Buffalo. He's where he started. Who's the longest tenured Raider?
Okay, I'm going back right now.
Okay.
Derek Carrier, Ted Carradine, Keith Smith, EJ, Khalil Mack at 4.
So Carr and Mack are our longest
Mack,
tenured.
Gabe Jackson, Justin Ellis. Yeah, there's nobody prior to the 2014 draft on the Raiders right now.
Unbelievable. Wow. That's pretty wild.
I mean, again, you made a good point. Why wouldn't you blow it up? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Coaches, everything. Blow it all up. Let's go. You keep your centerpieces, and then let's blow it all up.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders.
You know why we out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
Sonny, this Sunday is Mother's Day, and so happy Mother's Day to your mom. And Sonny, where do you come out on Mother's Day in terms of your spouse? Now your kids are young, so they can't do anything for mom on Mother's Day. So do you do things on their behalf for mom on Mother's Day?
Murf, in my house, every day is Mother's Day.
Oh, look at you.
Mom
Attaboy. Hold on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Isn't Mother's Day next week?
That's what I just said. It's like, oh my gosh!
Okay.
Will you turn your computer off again?
Well, you're killing me. You may think I forgot something today.
No, it's not today. We would be doing a show on Mother's. We may be insensitive idiot Raider fans, but we're not that stupid.
I gotta go call my mom after the show.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I gotta go take my wife to
Murph
lunch.
says Mother's Day. Murph's an idiot.
No.
All right. Yeah. So our boys are 4 and 3.
They're young.
So they're pretty young, but typically we'll get up early and do breakfast and clean the house, that kind of stuff.
There you go.
So yeah, just that kind of stuff.
Well, we're gonna when it comes to the internet black hole, of course, being that Mother's Day is on the horizon. That was where my searches started, and much like many things when it comes to the black hole of the internet, they start one place and they end up somewhere else. So I was thinking about the Raiders and Mother's Day, and we'll go ahead and play it, and I'll show you where I ended up.
Murph's Black Hole of the Internet.
A journey that begins where everything ends.
Sonny, do you remember the second round pick this year? Did you get to watch any of the draft when Willie Brown came out?
I didn't get to watch any of the draft this year, no.
Okay, so this year, Willie Brown, who's for a long time now been, and many teams do this. They have the commissioner announces their first round pick, their second round pick. They'll have a high profile member of that organization. And for the Raiders, it's been Willie Brown for a long, long time. So Willie Brown this year in the 2018 draft announced the second round pick, and here's what he said.
Get the pick from the Raiders now, the latest. Here's Willie Brown.
To announce the Oakland Raiders selection, please welcome from Grambling State University, Hall of Fame cornerback, Willie Brown.
Thank you very much. Oh, listen up. Listen up. Mother's Day is in 3 weeks, guys. 3 weeks, Mother's Day. Not this Sunday, not the following Sunday. but that next Sunday is Mother's Day. All right, you guys remember that. You know, hey, Raider Nation, Chucky is back. We ready to rock and roll again. And for the America, you think the Dallas is the America team? No. The Raiders are the world team. Anywhere you go, it's the Raiders.
All right, so there's Willie Brown announcing the second-round pick, and of course, he announced, Sonny, that it was Mother's Day, right? So it's not this Sunday, not the following Sunday, but the Sunday after. He announced that it was Mother's Day.
But he announced it 2 weeks ago, so the following Sunday is Mother's Day,
right?
right?
Yeah. Now, depending on when you listen to the show. Yeah, a week from today, which is May the 6th. And yes, a week from today is Mother's Day. So Willie Brown, very kind to remind everybody that it was Mother's Day upcoming. Sonny, do you remember the 2017 draft? Do you remember who we drafted in the 2017 draft in the second round?
It was 2017 or 28, or that was last year. Who did we? Jihad? Jihad Ward or Chili Calhoun?
Okay, here we go.
Or no, Obi.
7 of the
Yep,
first 50.
there you got it. It's Obi. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Oakland Raiders selection. Please welcome from Grambling State University, 1984 Hall of Fame inductee, cornerback Willie Brown.
All right, now here comes Willie back to the stage once again. Or not once again, last year.
Okay, congratulations for being here. Let me get a couple of things out of the way. One, being Happy Mother's Day coming up in a couple of weeks, guys.
Sonny did it again.
Go shopping for your mom, okay? My mom, she'll be 100. Listen, shh. My mom will be 103 in October. For her and Mrs. Al Davis, I'm gonna tell you her age, so don't worry about her age. Okay, here we go. With this 56th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders. We select Obi Melifonwu.
All right, there you go. So Obi Melifonwu, and Willie sets the tone by wishing Mrs. Davis, Carol Davis, right, which is really the actual owner of the Raiders, if you really want to get technical about it. Al Davis's wife, Mark Davis's mom, wishes her and his own mother Happy Mother's Day in 2017, right? Pretty cool, don't you think?
I think it's awesome. I can't get over the fact that, and this isn't a knock against Willie Brown, but when you kind of start getting up there in age, it's hard to tell the distinction between just an old person and a drunk person. Because if you play it back, he sounds like he's like half tanked.
Well, I'll tell you what.
He's old. It's just because he's old.
In the spirit of the continuing down this Mother's Day black hole, Sonny, let's go to the second round of the 2016 draft.
All right, settle down.
That's great.
Let me do a couple of things first. Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciated you kids bringing them out. But as always, hold on, I told you to settle down.
Love this guy.
As always, for every year, I like to wish all the mothers out there Happy Mother's Day, which is next Sunday. Don't forget, guys, my mom especially, Mrs. Al Davis especially.
All right, so I'm not going to play the whole thing, but now that I'm picturing somebody drunk, I'm picturing going, hold on, settle down, guys. Settle down, guys.
We got to wish the mom. Hey, buy me one for my mom. Give it up for all the moms in here. Love you, Mom. Yeah, dude, totally, dude. Play this year's again. That was the best.
All right, I will, but hold on. Before we get to that, he said, I caught in this one, I'm like, 2016, he said, I always like to. I'm like, wait a minute, you do? Uh-oh. Well, we better go back to 2015.
Announce the Oakland Raiders selection. Please welcome from Grambling State University, an undrafted free agent in 1963, Raiders Hall of Fame cornerback Willie Brown.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me just say, last year I wish all the mothers Happy Mother's Day, so that's coming up next week. So Happy Mother's Day, guys, ladies. My mother, happy Mother's Day to her, and Mrs. Carol Davis. Happy Mother's Day to you.
All right, so there once again, happy Mother's Day to, and we're going in reverse order. So I say once again, like so, but then
he's sobering up each time you play.
I know he's getting younger and he's less beer in the green room. So here's where it all started, though. So finally, I got to the end. I got to the, if you believe it or not, there's a bottom to the black hole. And it's freaking 2014. Willie Brown now for 5 straight years at the draft has wished mothers a happy Mother's Day. And here's where it all started.
To announce the Oakland Raiders selection, please welcome from Grambling State University, an undrafted free agent in 1963, Hall of Fame cornerback Willie Brown.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me, before I announce the pick, let me just say congratulations and to all the moms, happy Mother's Day to all of you moms throughout the world. My mom, she's 99 years old, so hopefully she can make it to October. She'll be 100 years old. So all you mom, thanks. With the 36th pick.
All right, there you go. So there's the bottom of it. So it started in 2014, and then we're going to go back to 2018 because now I want to put on the headphones of somebody that's been drinking a little bit in the back room. So let's see what it sounds like.
Get the pick from the Raiders now. The latest. Here's Willie Brown.
To announce the Oakland Raiders selection, please welcome from Grambling State University, Hall of Fame cornerback Willie Brown.
If you don't know what college Willie Brown went to at the end of this segment, then you got issues.
Thank you very much. Oh, listen up. Listen up. Mother's Day is in 3 weeks, guys. 3 weeks, Mother's Day. Not this Sunday, not the following Sunday, but the next Sunday is Mother's Day. All right, you guys, remember that. You know, hey, Raider Nation, Chucky is back. We're ready to rock and roll again. And for the America, you think the Dallas is an American team? No. The Raiders are the world team.
World team.
It's the Raiders. Raiders.
Oh, my God.
With the 57 pick.
Told you, man.
In the 2018 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select P.J. Hall, defensive tackle, Sam Houston State.
Look it. I know we're going to get a bunch of crap
gosh,
for it. You know, we're making fun of Willie Brown and stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
It's all in good fun. All in good fun.
It's a lighter side of fandom here on Raiders Fan Radio.
All in good fun. There.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. You know what? So I'm gonna totally steal a bit, right? So there's a bit, I forget what talk show that it's on, where they take a soundbite and you can put it into our audio software and you can slow it down and it makes people sound like they've been drinking. So I'm gonna take that. I'll play with that and I'll have
to slow that down.
I know, right? But yeah. But I'll just clip out those parts and I'll play with that audio a little bit and I'll come up with something fun for us next week. So from Willie Brown and the 6-pack that he had in the green room before he came out to announce the pick, happy Mother's Day to all of your mothers out there. Call your moms. If your kids are too young to do something for their mom, then dads, it's on you, man. Put something together, make her breakfast, clean the house, set up a brunch, do something. But definitely let's honor those.
Are you going to call your mother?
I will. Yes, I will. I will call my mom. Or you could just, lean out your front window.
Are you going to call your father's sister?
Am I going to call my father's sister?
I mean, your uncle's sister?
Oh, yes. I will call my uncle. I'll call Uncle Mosh's oldest sister.
I was thinking of my father.
Yeah, I will call your dad's old sister. Oldest sister. Hey, come on, right? Sorry, Ma. I love you. What are you going to do? You going to have your mom over?
Yeah, I'll probably come over. Probably have some dinner.
There you go. Absolutely. So anyway, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there for sure. So probably, I'm just floating this out there. Sonny and I hadn't talked about it. Likely, we're not going to have a show next week. We might have an interview. We might throw up an interview out there for everybody to listen to, but likely you're not going to get an episode of Raiders Fan Radio. And frankly, it's probably going to be a slow week anyways in Raider Nation. So it'll be a good time for us to take off and then focus on family for the weekend. So anyway, so Sonny, that's That's about all we got. The only thing else I want to throw out there is our Facebook page, not Sonny and I's profiles, but our Facebook page, which you can find at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. It's the show's listener page. It's almost at 3,000 likes. If y'all could just mash that thumbs up, hit that like button for us and get that thing to 3,000, I'm going to be watching it. And the first one, or not the first one, but whoever is number 3,000, we're going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to shoot you something. We'll get you a Dead Pirate gift card or Raiders Fan Radio t-shirt. We'll definitely get you something as a show of appreciation of our thanks for supporting us here on the show and supporting Raiders Fan Radio. So please help us get that thing to 3,000 likes, and to thank you to all of you who have already done so, and thank you to all of you that continue to support the show. Appreciate your emails, appreciate your voicemails, even on a crazy place like Twitter. We appreciate the interactions from everybody, and of course Facebook as well. You can find our show on all podcast services. You can find us on iTunes, you can find us on Stitcher, you can find us on Podcast Addict, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, you can find us. And when you do, please like and subscribe. Again, it helps support what we do, what Sonny and I do here for Raiders Fan Radio. And frankly, Sonny, gosh, our ratings have been great lately, and we thank you to all of you who are listening to us and appreciate what you're doing to support us. We couldn't do it without you all, and many thanks go out there to you. And so thanks. I can't say thanks enough, man. It's humbling the amount of response that we get from Raider Nation, and so we're just thankful for it. So sorry if I gush a little bit at times, but it's a really cool thing. So Sonny, I think that's all we got this week. You got anything for us before we get out of here?
In the last 40 minutes, 62 people agree with me that Tom Cable looks like Mike from Breaking Bad.
Well, there you go.
I posted it on my Facebook page.
Oh, you did? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, go look. It's almost a spitting image. It's pretty good. That's all I got.
All right, well, good deal. Again, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, all you ladies that listen to Raiders Fan Radio and have children. I guess that's kind of a pre-qualifier, right? You got to have a kid to be a mom.
Yes.
That's kind of a yes. So yeah. So
puppies don't count.
Puppies don't count. All right. Once again, we are Raiders Fan Radio, and Sonny, hit us with a tagline.
Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got me all confused, bro. I think about Dave Grohl eating the Kool-Aid pickle and stuff with Ron at a Cincinnati Bengals game.